While we were away, the score is 13-10 Monroe. As Malia Bell headed to the free throw line for the third time this evening. She didn't get the first one, but she gets the second. While we were away, Monroe had a foul on Kaylin Lely, and then a substitution entered the game. That was Abria Robinson, the 5'6" first year from Newark, New Jersey. Just about 30 seconds left in the first quarter. Score is 13-11 Monroe. And Malia Bell had possession on that one. And went out of bounds. At the end of the first quarter, we'll talk about Monroe University and their team. They have a very experienced staff. And their head coach, Camille McClellan, who is in her second season, has an extensive resume with some top schools in the U.S. We'll take a look at her resume at the end of the first quarter. As Fogel missed that one, but Stubbs was right there. And Fogel loves it, so do the fans inside the Manley Center, as she was able to tie it up just before the first quarter expired. And Carlota Lopez sinked a three-pointer as time expired. So the score is 16-13 Monroe. So we've reached the end of the first quarter. And we will quickly talk about the coaching staff of the Monroe Mustangs. They're led by Camille McClellan in her second season. She was previously an assistant coach at Ohio State, Fairleigh Dickinson, and Fordham University. These are all Division I basketball programs. McClellan was an assistant in Ohio State and took them to the Big Ten championship game in 2022 and was a part of their Sweet 16 run. She went over to Fairleigh Dickinson University, where she became the NEC Northeastern Conference champions in the 2023 season, and then took the position at Monroe University in New Rochelle, New York. Monroe is part of the NJCAA, the National Junior College Athletic Association. They are in the Region 15 division, as they are in town to play Catonsville tonight and will head over to Essex tomorrow at 2 p.m. to take on the Knights. We're back to action here, as Stubbs has the inbound pass. Malia Bell went up for it, but there was a foul called by Sydney Husky. That's Husky's second foul. As Bartlett has possession for the Cardinals. Over to Bell. Bell's got it. She traveled. You have a substitution for Monroe. Checking back into the game, the 6'3" sophomore from Auckland, New Zealand, number 21, Kaisten Stefano. So Monroe has possession. Lopez got it. Guarded by Larimore. Flipped it out to Ben Cosme, who missed the three. It was stolen away by Husky, who's guarded by Bartlett and lays it up and in. Extends the lead 18-13 for the Mustangs. As Malia Bell has it for the Cardinals. Bell's guarded by Husky. Bell spins in the post. She gets it to go. As Husky's got it. Over to Ben Cosme, back to Husky. Husky lays it up and in. Score is 20-15. Malia Bell's got it for the Cardinals. Over to Larimore. Larimore to Malis. Malis in the corner, guarded by Lopez. Malis got it. Over to Stubbs. Stubbs in the lane. She's got it, plus the foul. So Stubbs will head to the line as Nicole Ben-Cosme will pick up her second foul.
Stubbs shoots one.
Stubbs looking to make it a three-point play, and she does.
Stubbs completes the three-point play. Kate Smoke.
As Lopez gets it for Monroe. She's got it. Over to Ariel Walker, who just checked into the game. Walker, a 6'1" first year from Newark, New Jersey, by way of North Star Academy. Malia Bell's got it for the Cardinals. Bell over to Fogel. Fogel for three, she's off. Malis gets it. She's in a tie-up with Husky. Husky has it for the moment. Over to Lopez. Monroe has possession. She's guarded by Bell. Lopez. Cross pass to Stefano, who sinks it. Excuse me, that was Parsons. Zanaya Parsons, the 5'8" first year from Harlem, New York, by way of Brooklyn Law. Malia Bell gets it for the Cardinals. Over to Larimore. Back to Fogel. Fogel in the lane to Stubbs. Two defenders on her. She misses that one. Rebound by Lopez. Lopez over to Husky. Husky to Laley, who's fouled. So Kaylin Laley will go to the line for two. Larimore with that foul. That's her second of the game. As Coach Redwicks and the Cardinals will call timeout. Monroe has the lead 22-18. Just 7 minutes left in this first half. Join us at 7 p.m. as the Cardinals will take on their rival CCBC Dundalk, where the men's team will take the court, coming off a huge 54-point win against College of Southern Maryland last Friday. Coach McClellan and Monroe is not used to playing close games. As previously mentioned, they have a 13-2 record. Their average wins are up to 25 points. They are beating teams by 25 points this season. They had a massive road win against Erie Community College where they held them to only 13 points the entire game. The final score of that game was 20-13. As Laley will head to the free-throw line. Laley, a 5'8" first year from Queens by way of St. Francis Prep. Laley's off on that one as Bell gets it for the Cardinals. Bell. For three, she sinks it. Malia Bell with the three-pointer. Cuts the lead to 2. She leads with 9 points on the night, does Bell. And a travel was called by Ariel Walker. So possession will go with Catonsville. As Coach McClellan is not too happy with her team, and she'll call a timeout. Only leading by 2. She's not too happy with her team as turnovers are starting to pile up for the Mustangs. And the lead has just been cut to 2. Just 6 minutes left here in the first half. as Coach Renwicks is doing a phenomenal job with her team. She knows what she was going into, as this Mustangs team's 13-2 heading into this ball game. But the Cardinals have momentum after beating Montgomery College at home last Wednesday night, their last game. They look to continue that tonight and keep the win streak going. They are playing Monroe University very well here tonight. They have played them once before. It was an 84-36 victory by Monroe back on November 24th. Catonsville is doing all they can to remain in this one. They're doing a great job so far. As Stubbs has it for the Cardinals. She flips it out to Bell. Bell over to Fogel. Sees Malis for three. She's off. Larimore tried to go up for the rebound, but misses as Husky has it over to Kaisden Stefano, who had that height advantage, as the ball was stolen away by Husky. Husky in the lane. She's fouled, and that was hit in the forehead by Larimore. And as Malia Bell will pick up that foul. As Laylee gets that bucket, extends the lead to 6, 27-21. Malis has it over to Stubbs in the lane. She floats it, that's off. Stubbs with the rebound. Stubbs can't get that one. Is there a tie up under the basket? As Monroe gets possession. Lopez. He's got it. She's guarded by Bell. Lopez over to Laylee. Laylee back to Lopez. Lopez over to Husky. Husky back to Lopez. Guarded by Bell. Lopez still has it. Six seconds left on the shot clock. She lays it up and in. She misses. Fogel with the rebound. Fogel finds Larimore midcourt. Larimore, bad pass. Fogel gets it though. Fogel guarded by Lopez, who's just able to get the pass off to Stubbs. Finds Bell. Leah Bell with possession. Over to Stubbs. Stubbs airmails it over Malis' head, and the possession will go with Monroe. As Sanaya Parsons will get the inbound pass. As Alicia Sicaroli will check in back into the game for Monroe. Husky has got it for the Mustangs. Weaves between two defenders. Sends Emily Bartlett falling down on that foul. Foul was called on Bartlett, I believe. Check that, was Larimore's. They're both guarding Husky. Husky missed their first free throw. Larimore already with 3 fouls in the first half. Huskies off on the second. As Malis gets possession. Over to Bell. The pass was tipped. Stolen away by Laylee. Laylee's got it over to Lopez. Lopez loses it. Fogel's got possession. Fogel, she tried to find Malia Bell, but she was tripped by Sydney Husky as Malia Bell falls down. She is all right, though. She's back on her feet. as Nicole Ben-Cosme will check into the game, as Husky will take a seat.
Monroe foul number 2, Sydney Husky, her third, team's third.
Coach McCullen speaking with her team from the sidelines. Not too happy with their performance as of now. As Monroe has possession, Ben-Cosme's got it. Ben-Cosme over to Saccaroli. Saccaroli misses. Rebound by Fogel. Fogel over to Bell. Malia Bell's got it. Over to Malis. Malis to Bell for 3. Malia Bell in and out. As Lopez goes for it, she gets it. She finds Parsons. Parsons to Lely. Lely to Lopez, going down the lane. Lopez can't get it. Rebound by Lely as Lely lays it up and in. Extends the lead to 8, 29-21. Malia Bell with possession for the Cardinals. Bell's got it. Bell, pass stolen by Parsons. Parsons all alone. She's got Bartlett to her left. Parsons for the layup. It goes.
Monroe basket number 20, Kayla Lely.
Malia Bell with possession for the Cardinals. She finds Fogel. Fogel fires. She's off. Rebound with the Mustangs. Lely with possession. Over to Ben-Cosme. Ben-Cosme fires. Over Larimore. She's off. As Alicia Ciccarelli with the rebound, she lays it home.
Monroe basket number 11, Alicia Saccaroli.
As Bell has it. Bell. Stolen away. She gets it back. Weaves between 2 defenders. She throws it over to Larimore. It's called as a backcourt violation. There was a foul.
Monroe foul number 10, Nicole Ben-Cosme.
So Nicole Ben-Cosme will get the foul for Monroe. It is her 3rd foul on Ben-Cosme. Bartlett has possession.
Kick ball possession.
Was a
Kingsville.
kicked ball by Nicole Ben-Cosme. The Cardinals have possession. Fogel's got it. Fogel looking for a lane. She finds Bell. Over to Bartlett. Emily Bartlett in the lane. Flips it up. That's off. The ball went out of bounds. Last touched by Monroe. So Catonsville will remain with possession. Malia Bell with the inbound pass. Cards trail by 12. Over to Malis. Malis guarded by 2 defenders. Stolen away. Lopez had it. Lopez guarded by Bell. Loses the ball. Malis with the rebound. Goes up for it. And lays it up and in. Jada Malis.
Basket number 12, Kayla Malis.
Malis now with 4 points on the night. Meanwhile, Ben-Cosme's got it. Over to Lely, who floats it.
Monroe basket number 23, Zania.
Malia Bell with possession for the Cardinals. Over to Malis. Malis over to Stubbs. Stubbs has it. Over to Fogel. Fogel to Malis. Stolen away by Alicia Ciccaroli.
First half.
Ciccaroli with the turnover. She still has it. Flips it up, and it's off. Stubbs with the rebound. Finds Bell. Just over 30 seconds left here in the first half. Cards trailing by 12. Fogel's got it. Over to Bartlett in the corner. Finds Malis. Finds Fogel in the lane. Fogel up and under. She's got it. Jocelyn Fogel with the layup. Fogel's got her first points of the night. So lead is cut to 10. As Monroe gets that one. Gunja Miletic. First buckets for her. A 6-foot guard from Ruskovac, Serbia. As time expires in the first half, Monroe has the lead, 37-25. It's a rough start for them, but after Coach McClellan called that timeout midway through the first half, they were able to get things together and put up a few more points before the first half expired. So as Monroe will take the 37-25 lead into the locker room, we'll be back in Catonsville YouTube channel in roughly 15 minutes for the second half.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done so already, please stop by our concession stand. We have hot dogs, hot dog combo with chips and soda, noodles, funnel cake, popcorn, cotton candy, candy, water, Gatorade, soda, and chips. So please stop by the concession stand before you leave this evening.
I know, I'm just like, did you eat the 12? No, Sarah got an 8. Yes, there's two 8s and one 12. I'm not gonna eat You guys see that guy over there that's in the concession with the gray hoodie and the hat? Yeah. He's gonna be like with Mia with the media stuff, and they're gonna do like things at our practices. They're gonna come out to our practices and have like, be like, what's your favorite MLB player? Like, and everybody goes like to a board and answers one like, a bunch of stuff like that. No, it's gonna be tough. No, it'll be cool. No, I didn't do it. Dude, some of my best things are at practice, bro. My best guys are at practice, trust. My best guys are at practice. My diving in games looks, I mean, I hit the ball, but I like don't.
Welcome back into the broadcast booth. I'm Cam Crossett as Monroe leads 37-25 at half. We'll take a look at stats before the second half is upon us. We'll start with Monroe. Kaylin Laley leads with 11 points. And Malia Bell leads for Catonsville with 9 points. We'll take a look at how Catonsville can get closer to tying things up. We'll see if Jocelyn Fogel can get her scoring going. Only has 2 points so far. She was a leading scorer last game with 23 against Montgomery College. And see how Monroe can extend their lead. They have to get Sydney Husky going again. Husky only has 8 points. She averages 17 per game. We'll be in for a good one here in the Manley Center as Coach Renwick's talking to her team on Catonsville's sidelines, as well as Camille McClellan is talking to her staff on the Monroe sideline. As second half is upon us here in the Manley Center on a Friday night. We'll take a quick look at foul trouble. Nicole Ben-Cosme is in foul trouble for the Mustangs, has 3 fouls. As for the Cardinals, Helene Larimore has 3 fouls. Should be a good second half. Tightly contested contest, as all being a 12-point lead for Monroe. Monroe coming off a 98-36 victory last Saturday. As Malia Bell has the ball for Catonsville, the second half's underway. Emily Bartlett has it for the Cardinals, finds Stubbs, so stolen away by Husky. Husky has it. She's looking for Lopez. She saved it. Husky's got it. Husky over to Lely. Ball went out of bounds. His possession arrow will remain with Monroe. Lopez, she got it off just in time before she fell. She has Husky. She's got it. Husky loses it. It's picked up by Lopez. Finds Husky for 3. She's off. Stubbs in a battle with Lely. Lely over to Husky. Husky back to Lely. Lely for 3. She's got it. Kaylin Lely opens the scoring in the second half with a 3-pointer, extends the lead to 15. As for Catonsville had possession, they got it stolen away. As Monroe's got it. Laley just went off her left leg, and possession arrow will go with the Cardinals, and Malia Bell will get it. Trailing by 15, just 2 minutes into this second half. As Malia Bell's got it in the lane, finds Stubbs. There's a tie-up underneath the basket. Stubbs and Lopez fighting for the ball.
Jump ball, possession, Monroe.
Monroe will get possession. Lopez has it. Lopez, he's got it. She's looking for Husky. She's guarded by Smith. Vivia Smith. A 5'7" first year from Catonsville, by way of Catonsville. Vivia Smith checks back into the game in the second half. as Huskies has possession. She flips it out to Stefano, who traveled, as Malia Bell has possession. As that ball goes out of bounds, then Lopez tried to steal it from her as the ball was going out of bounds. Malia Bell didn't like that. As the Cardinals will get possession. The ref wants to talk things over with the other two referees. They'll come together. I think they're talking about where the placement of the ball should be in that inbound pass. Not what I was thinking, which was looking to see if Lopez would get the foul for shoving Malia Bell as she went out of bounds. As Bell gets possession for the Cardinals. Over to Malis for three. Jada Malis, she's off. As Laley gets the rebound. Over to Lopez. Lopez, cross pass to Laley. Laley gets it to go. As Bartlett has it. Over to Stubbs, back to Bartlett, finds Bell. Bell loses it. Lopez with the rebound. Lopez has Laley all alone. Laley, she fires, she can't get it to go, she gets her own rebound. Kaylin Laley. Santera Renwicks doesn't like what she sees on the Catonsville side, so she will call a timeout. As Monroe has a 44-25 lead. This is the style of basketball the Mustangs are used to playing. Early in that first half, they were a little uncomfortable once that score was 23-21, just a 2-point lead for them. They're not used to playing those close games. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, they have been beating teams by an average of 25 points this season. It's Catonsville on the other side. They're trying to find a way to get back in it. They've been having issues as of late, maintaining the lead, or taking the lead and maintaining the lead. They'll look to inch their way closer to tying this ball game up with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. As Bell has it over to Malis. Malis finds Bell. Bell in the corners finds Malis. Malis guarded by Stefano, who's fouled. So Jada Malis will head to the line. As Kisden Stefano with the foul. That was her first foul of this evening. Delaney Larimore misses the first free throw. Larimore, a 5'9" first year from Seaford, Delaware, by way of Laurel. As Lopez has possession for the Mustangs, went behind her back. Over to Laley for three. She's got it. Kaylin Laley with the three-pointer. She now has 22 points on the night. As Stubbs has it for Catonsville as a jump ball. As Stubbs was able to keep possession. As Malia Bell will get that inbound pass. It was stolen away by Monroe. Lopez has it. Lopez, she tripped Jada Malis, who found Caden Stefano, who sinked a three-pointer. Stefano now up to 6 points. Monroe has found a way to extend their lead very quickly here in the third quarter. Carlota Lopez on that foul. That was Lopez's second. The ball went out of bounds. Bartlett couldn't get up there. As Sydney Husky will get possession for Monroe on the inbound pass. The lead is 49-25 Monroe. Catonsville doing all they can to try and get back into this one. They knew it was going to be a tough task heading into this matchup. As Militek tried to go up for the floater but missed, as Catonsville gets possession. Bell's got it. Over to Stubbs in the corner. Stubbs is off. As Monroe will get possession. Substitution for Monroe, checking into the game, number 12, a 6'4" sophomore from Sapucaia do Sul, Brazil, is Julia Pacheco.
Catonsville foul number 15, Emily Bartlett, her first, team second.
As Monroe had possession, a foul was called. His possession will go with Catonsville.
Monroe foul number 12, Julia Pacheco, her first, team's fourth.
Pacheco, their first foul. She just checked into the game. As Catonsville has possession. Malia Bell's got it. Bell. Stolen away by Husky. Husky over to Laley, who floats it up and in, extends the lead 51-25. Catonsville with possession, Malia Bell. Guarded by Husky. Bell finds Stubbs, who lays it up and in. Stubbs now has 9 points on the night. It's Lopez has it for Monroe, who finds Husky. Try to put it up. Pacheco on the rebound, missed. As Bell goes coast to coast, goes up to the basket and is fouled. Malia Bell will head to the free throw line.
Monroe foul number 11,
Alicia Saccaroli on that foul. That's her second of the game. Malia Bell will head to the free throw line. She gets the first one.
Bell makes the first, shoots one more for Catonsville.
And she will make the second. Malia Bell gets both free throws, now has 12 points on the night. As Lopez has it for the Mustangs. Weaves between two defenders, puts off the ball, is no good. As Malia Bell had possession, Jada Malice is right there, she gets it. Bell. Over to Fogel. Fogel steps back. She can't get that one to go. Lopez with the rebound. Lopez. It's guarded by Bartlett. She tried to find Fogel. She couldn't find her. As meanwhile, Catonsville will get possession. Bell has it over to Malis. Malis to Stubbs. Back to Malia Bell for three. She's off. Stubbs with the rebound. Stubbs is off. As Bartlett tried to get it, but Lopez was right there. She gets the rebound. She tried to throw it up and in as she was falling down. And a foul was called. Substitutions for the Mustangs. Checking in number 1, Ariel Walker. And number 30, Abria Robinson. Robinson, a 5'6" first year from Newark, New Jersey. As Walker is a 6'1" first year also from Newark, New Jersey. They're teammates on North Star Academy in Newark. Walker's got it. Substitution for the Catonsville as Kat Hamadelli checks into the game for the Cardinals. As Kat Bamadelli, the 5'6" center from Owings Mills by way of Newtown. As Jada Malis was on that rebound. She was fouled. So Malis doesn't like that she wasn't fouled. This ball went out of bounds. Catonsville will remain possession. As Bell over to Malis. Malis for three. Off the back iron, and she misses. The traveling violation by Abria Robinson. Malia Bell will get the inbound pass for the Cardinals. Bell flips it out to Fogel, who's guarded by Lopez. Fogel over to Stubbs, who loses possession. Abria Robinson's got it for Monroe. Robinson is fouled by Malis. As Malis' first foul. Abria Robinson will head to the free throw line. She will get the first one. And Robinson will miss the second as Malis with the rebound. Malis out and running. She's guarded by Lopez. She's got it over to Bell. Bell looking for Kat Bamadelli. Stolen away by Lopez. Lopez out and running. That was stripped. Picked up by Robinson. Robinson back to Lopez. Over to Robinson. Robinson still has possession. Over to Laley. Laley in the lane. Puts it up. Doesn't get it, but Walker's right there. She can't get that one to go. As Alicia Sicarelli gets it over to Lopez, who floats it in. Monroe finally finds the basket as they extend their lead 54-29. Malia Bell has it for the Cardinals. Over to Fogel. Cross pass to Bell. Weaves between two defenders. Just missed that one. Kat Bamadelli tried to get it. She couldn't. As Lopez gets the rebound. Over to Laley, who's off. Stubbs with the rebound. Finds Bell all alone. Malia Bell lays it up and in. As Lopez gets it for Monroe. Over to Laley for three. Laley's off. Laley over to Robinson. There's a jump ball. Malis should try to take the ball out of Robinson's hands. The jump ball was called. Substitutions for the Mustangs. Checking into the game is number 15, Darian Jackson, the 5'8" first year from Uniondale, New York, by way of Uniondale. Jackson averages 5 points on the season. From the corner, Jackson fires. She's off. Nicole Ben-Cosme. She's got it for the Mustangs. Ben-Cosme. She's fouled.
Monroe foul number 1, Ariel Walker.
As Ariel Walker with a push-off by Monroe, offensive foul, as Catonsville will get possession. Jada for 3, that one's off. Malis thought she was fouled. That was not called.
Monroe, 30-second timeout.
As Monroe will take their 30-second timeout. Coach McClellan will call timeout as her team has a 54-31 lead. There's 1 minute to play here in the third quarter. We'll see how Catonsville can get back into this ball game. They played Monroe very close in the first half. They lost the lead that they had, that 2-point lead they had for a brief moment. And Monroe took over. They've been leading ever since. Malia Bell leads with 13 on the night for Catonsville. As possession will go with Catonsville. They get possession as Emily Bartlett will get possession off the inbound pass. Bartlett finds Fogel. Fogel goes on the court, weaves between 2 defenders, spins in the post. She's fouled. The travel was also called. As Monroe will get possession. Fogel, she took one too many steps in the paint, leads to a travel. As Nicole Ben-Cosme get it for Monroe. Over to Jackson for 3. Jackson misses. Fogel with the rebound. Fogel to Malis. Malis swatted away by Jackson. And the ball went out of bounds off of Jackson as Malis will get possession. Full team substitution called for Monroe. Monroe will go to the end of their bench. You get all the substitutions on the court. Use all active players on the roster. As Bell will get it over to Stubbs. Fired. It's off. Fogel with the rebound. Fogel's off. Fogel's got it. Fogel, she gets it to go, and the foul. Jocelyn Fogel now has 4 points on the night.
Monroe foul number 21, Kisden Stefano, her second.
As Kisden Stefano with the foul, that is her second. Fogel, she gets the and one opportunity. She gets them all. Fogel completes the three-point play as Stefano had it for Monroe, was stolen by Bartlett. Bartlett all alone, goes for 2. She's off at the buzzer. Catonsville trails 54-34 at the end of the third quarter. So we'll check it on scoring totals for both teams. Malia Bell with 13 and Kaylin Lely with 19 on the night. Both teams talking things over. Catonsville has done a great job dealing with Monroe's offensive weapons, such as Kaylin Lely and Sydney Husky. Limited Husky to 8 points. Husky averages 17 points on the season. Catonsville trailing by 20 as we head into the fourth quarter of play here in the Manley Center tonight. Stay tuned at 7 p.m. for the men's basketball game against rivals CCBC Dundalk as they come to town. On the court for the fourth quarter for the Mustangs is Husky, Lopez, Laley, Stefano, and Parsons. For Catonsville is Bell, Stubbs, Malis, Bartlett, and Fogel. As Bell has possession. Fourth quarter underway. As Stubbs has it. Stubbs. She loses it. The jump ball is called. Monroe will take possession. As Lopez has possession for Monroe. Lopez over to Laley. Misses that one. Lopez will get the rebound. It was swatted around by Parsons, but Lopez ended up with it as she'll travel. So Catonsville will get possession. Stubbs has it. Over to Bell. Over to Malis in the corner. Malis is off. As Bartlett was in a tough battle with Lopez. Lopez just stole it away from her. Lopez over to Parsons. Parsons is off.
Out of bounds, possession, Catonsville.
Out of bounds is the call. Catonsville will get possession. As Stubbs has it over to Bell. Bell tried to flip it to Fogel, but fell down in the process. She'll get that inbound pass. Husky will pick up that foul. That's Husky's fourth foul of the evening. Stubbs has it. Stubbs. Over to Malis, who's off. Husky with possession for Monroe. Husky fouled underneath the basket as Sydney Husky will go to the line with 8 points on the night. Malis will pick up that foul, her second. Vivia Smith will check back into the game for the Cardinals. A 5'7" first year from Catonsville. Husky gets the first one. And Husky will get the second one. So Sydney Husky makes them both and now has 10 points on the night. Sends the lead 56-34. Stubbs has possession, flips it out to Bell. Bell, she's guarded by Lopez. She finds Stubbs that was stolen away. Laley's got it. Laley is guarded by Bell. Laley flips it up and in. She's got it. Kaylin Laley with the left-handed floater. She gets it to go. Malis has it over to Bell. She's got Malis in the corner. Malis over to Stubbs. She's got it. Serafina Stubbs now has 11 points on the night. Lopez with possession for Monroe. Foul called by Zanaya Parsons. That's her first. Catonsville has possession. Fogel's got it. Fogel fires. She gets it to go. Jocelyn Fogel with the floater. As Lopez has possession for the Mustangs. She lines up for three and she sinks it. Carlota Lopez now has 9 points on the night. Catonsville with possession. Serafina Stubbs. Stubbs is guarded by Pacheco. Stubbs is stolen away by Carlota Lopez. Monroe with possession. Lopez goes to the lane. She gets it. As Catonsville has possession, Jocelyn Fogel tried to get it from Ben Cosme. It was stolen away by Ben Cosme. Flips it over to Laley, who lays it up and in. Kaylin Laley with the layup now has 23 points on the night. Serafina Stubbs will get it back for Catonsville. It's stolen away again. This time, Melissa Sicaroli with the turnover, who finds Lopez, who lays it up and in. As Monroe call that timeout. Coach McClellan very happy with what her team's putting up so far in the fourth quarter, forcing a lot of turnovers. Catonsville unto pleased. Renwicks will with the timeout for Catonsville. So far in this fourth quarter, Monroe has caused 4 turnovers. They've been all over Catonsville. A major part of that is Kaylin Laley has 23 points on the night, has forced 2 turnovers just in the first quarter. (67-38) the score. Monroe with the lead. As Monroe looking to extend their lead, up by 29 here in the Manley Center on a Friday night. Stubbs with possession for the Cardinals. Over to Malis. Malis over to Bell. Malia Bell looking for Fogel. That ball's out of bounds. Possession arrow with Monroe. Stay tuned for the 7 p.m. tip-off where the men's basketball team will face their rival CCBC Dundalk right here in the Manley Center. Lopez with possession for Monroe. Lopez. Ball's out of bounds. She tried to get that one to go up and in as she was guarded by Fogel and Bell. On the inbound pass, Kaylin Laley, she gets it to go. Score is now 71-38. Malis with the basketball. Over to Bell. Bell to Stubbs. Stubbs is guarded by Lopez. Stubbs. That ball's out of bounds. Foul was called. Foul was called by Carlota Lopez. Stubbs will get possession. It's a late substitution by Monroe. Nicole Ben-Cosme checks back into the game. As Stubbs has it over to Fogel. She finds Malia Bell. Leah Bell over to Bartlett. Bartlett finds Malis. Malis over to Bell. Shot clock at 2. Flips it up. There was no foul called as time expired on the shot clock. Then they called a late foul.
Monroe foul number 11, Alicia Secaroli,
As on Alicia Secaroli, that'll be her third. As Malia Bell will head back to the free throw line with 13 points on the night. This is the first one. As Malia Bell misses them both. Monroe has possession. Ben Cosme with it. Over to Stefano. She finds Laley. Laley to Ben Cosme. Cross past is Sicarelli. Sicarelli's off on that 3. Over to Stubbs. Stubbs over Sicarelli. She's off. Stefano with possession is tie up. Malis with that foul as her third. As Nicole Ben Cosme has possession from Monroe. Ben Cosme over to Sacaroli, who finds Stefano. Over to Ben Cosme. Ben Cosme, she finds Sicarelli just over the head of Sicarelli. The ball is out of bounds, possession. We'll go with Catonsville. Sicarelli was guarded by Stubbs on that possession. She just didn't jump high enough, or she would have got that ball and could have had the bucket. But meanwhile, Catonsville's got it the other end. Malia Bell stolen away by Stefano. Over to Ben Cosme. Ben Cosme guarded by Bartlett. Over to Laley. Laley has Sicaroli. Over to Laley, who fires and misses. Stefano with the rebound. Over to Ben Cosme. Ben Cosme weaves around Malis. Over to Laley for 3. Laley sinks it. Kaylin Laley now has 28 points on the night. Malia Bell with possession for the Cardinals, trailing 72-38 with just over 3 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Malia Bell has it, guarded by Ben Cosme. Finds Malis, guarded by Sacaroli. Malis flips it over to Fogel. Tried to get it up and in, couldn't. The ball was stolen, and then a foul was called. Fogel not too happy. She doesn't like the call, as we'll get it right here from the referee. Intentional foul called on Jocelyn Fogel. The substitution for Monroe will have Ariel Walker check back into the game. Walker, a 6'1" first year from Newark, New Jersey by way of North Star Academy. At the line is Nicole Ben Cosme. She gets the first. Second is off. Ben Cosme was able to get that intentional foul as Fogel had something to say to her underneath the basket. And that foul was called. But as Ben Cosme has possession for Monroe. She flips it out to Laley, who floats it. She's off. Rebound by Saccaroli, who finds Ben Cosme, but it went in and out of her hands. Malis, heads up play. Malis to the rack. This rattles that one home. Jada Malis. She'll go to the free throw line.
Monroe foul number 10, Nicole Bencosme.
The foul called on Nicole Ben Cosme. Malis, she gets all three. The three-point play to go for Jada Malis. Score is 73-41, just under 3 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. It's Ariel Walker. Look at the inbound pass for Monroe. Over to Ben Cosme. Ben Cosme over to Robinson. Robinson to Ben Cosme. Over to Pacheco. Pacheco to Ben Cosme. She finds Jackson for three. She's off. Pacheco with the rebound. Pacheco lays it up and in. Julia Pacheco with their first points of the night. Bell's got it for the Cardinals. And Bell is fouled underneath the basket. She'll head to the free throw line. Ariel Walker on that foul. That's her second of the game.
Bell shoots one more.
Leah Bell misses the first. Leah Bell. She's almost teed up by the referee as she kept talking to Nicole Ben Cosme. Referee didn't like that. Malia Bell still at the line. She sinks that one. She gets it. So I'm sure Coach Renwick will have an explanation from the referee on what happened there. As Robinson over to Ben Cosme. Ben Cosme over to Jackson. Over to Robinson. Robinson over the head of Bell. Who has Pacheco. It's off. Rebound by Walker. Malia Bell has the possession. Over to Malis for three. She's off on that one as Jackson will get the rebound. With just over a minute and a half to play here in the Manley Center. Jackson trying to find Walker. The ball went out of bounds. The possession will remain with Monroe. As Jackson will get the inbound pass. Over to Ben Cosme. Ben Cosme to Robinson. Over to Ben Cosme. Over to Pacheco. That one does not go. Pacheco gets her own rebound. Puts it in. 79-42 the score. Malia Bell has it for Catonsville over to Fogel. Fogel is fouled. Fogel will head to the free throw line. Julia Pacheco on that foul, her second of the night. We'll take a look at the remaining schedule for the Catonsville Cardinals. On Wednesday, they'll host Allegheny College of Maryland. And then for Wednesday, February 5th, they'll hit the road to Frederick Community College. And their last homestand will begin with Bryan and Stratton on February 11th, and last home game of the season is against Maciot College on February 17th at 5 p.m. as Fogel gets both free throws. Just under a minute to play here in the Manley Center. Stay tuned for the men's game against CCBC Dundalk. Walker over to Jackson, who had a violation called. So Catonsville will get possession, but Coach Renwick wants to talk things over. Renwick's a little confusion with the referee, as she did not call a timeout. I was trying to drain out these last 42 seconds. It's Stubbs looking for Bell, who was fouled by Robinson. As Robinson's first. Malia Bell once again heads to the free throw line. Off on that first one. She misses them both. Just 40 seconds to play in this matchup. Catonsville will have some work to do as they'll take on Allegheny College of Maryland on Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Allegheny, a very good team. They'll be coming into this game second in the standings. They are also a part of the NJCAA Region 20 division. As Catonsville will drop to 2-11 on the season, and Monroe will improve to 14-2. 11 seconds to go here as Robinson will head to the free throw line. Just check that. It was not a defensive foul. It was just an inbound pass as Ariel Walker hits the deck. Comes up slowly. The ball went out of bounds. It's Walker jogging it off. She's reaching for her ribs. As Bell gets it. Can't do anything with it though. Catonsville drops a tough home loss. 79-43 the final. As mentioned before, Monroe will improve to 14-2, and Catonsville will drop to 2-11.
If you're leaving us now, we thank you very much for coming and wish you a pleasant good evening.
Keep in mind the Catonsville men's team will host CCBC Dundalk in approximately 20 minutes here in CCBC Catonsville YouTube channel. We'll take a look at stats real quickly before we wrap up from the Manley Center for our first game of our two-game set. As for Monroe, Nicole Ben-Cosme has 3 points, Pacheco with 4, Robinson with 1, Walker with 2. As Kaylin Lee leading scorer with 31 on the night. As for Catonsville, Malia Bell led with 14, Stubbs behind her with 11, followed by Fogel with 8, and Bayless with 7. Well, we thank you so much for watching the first game of our two-game set. Keep it right here on Catonsville YouTube channel. We welcome you back into the broadcast booth. I'm Cam Crossett for the second game of our two-game set tonight in the Manley Center. We have rivals CCBC Dundalk going up against CCBC Catonsville. We'll first take a look at the starters for the CCBC Dundalk. Hussein Williams at guard, Xavier Barrow at guard. The forward position will be Jalen Williams, Malachi Washington, and Alex Obasi. So Dundalk comes into this game 10-5 overall, 6-2 in conference, and 4-2 away from their building. This is a big game for both schools. Both schools are big rivals. Both coaches are great friends. Got to talk to TJ Prelude this morning. Him and Coach Byron King for Dundalk. Coach Byron King are great friends. They have known each other for many years. We'll get into that story in the broadcast as Dundalk and Catonsville will begin to tip off momentarily from the Manley Center. Take a quick look at Catonsville. 8-7 overall, 3-3 in conference, coming off a big 104-50 win last Friday against College of Southern Maryland, a 54-point win. Take a look at the standings briefly. For Dundalk, they sit in 4th place, and Catonsville sits in 12th place. Momentarily, I'll head it down to our public address announcer for opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish you a pleasant good evening. We welcome you to the Catonsville campus of the Community College of Baltimore County. This evening's men's basketball game featuring our visitors from CCBC Dundalk versus homestanding CCBC Catonsville. Before we introduce the starting lineups and coaches, a quick reminder, this event is being played under the regulations of the National Junior College Athletic Association, Region 20, and the Maryland Junior College Athletic Conference. MDJUCO and NJCAA prohibit verbal or physical harassment of any student athlete, official, coach, staff, spectator, guest, or community member during today's event. Violators of these rules will be subject to removal from the CCBC Catonsville complex. We appreciate your cooperation in being good fans. For your safety and the safety of our participants, please remain off the court during today's event. Restrooms are located in the hallway to the left of the seating area. Please pay attention to the announcer in the event of any special announcements. Now let's meet the starters and coaches, beginning with our visitors from Dundalk. Starting at guard number 4, Hussein Williams. Starting at guard number 5, Xavier Barrow. Starting at guard number 11, Christopher Scott. Starting at forward number 13, Malachi Washington. And starting at forward number 20, Alex Oves. The assistant coaches for Dundalk, Esther Jr., Darrell Perry, Derek Pitts. And the head coach is Byron King. Please welcome the visitors from Dundalk. Now for your homestanding Catonsville Cardinals. Starting at guard number 1, Wendell Tomlin. Starting at forward number 3, Caleb Gray. Starting at guard number 11, Lance Porter. Starting at guard number 12, Cameron Sampson. And starting at guard number 15, Michael Morgan. The assistant coaches for Catonsville are Jordan Miles and Ashley Salmons. And the head coach is TJ Prelude. Please welcome homestanding Catonsville. Dundalk will be in the black jerseys. They will be the guests on the scoreboard this evening. But Catonsville will be in the home white. They will be the Cardinals on the scoreboard. We thank you very much for joining us. We invite you to relax and enjoy the evening of men's basketball, and we wish best of luck to both schools.
Welcome back into the broadcast booth. I'm Cam Crossett. as Catonsville will host CCBC Dundalk tonight. As both teams ready to take the court. The lineups were given by a public address announcer. We'll go over them once more. For Catonsville, we have Tomlin, Caleb Gray, Lance Porter, Cam Sampson, and Micah Morgan. On the other side, for Dundalk, we have Williams, Xavier Barrow, Jalen Williams, number 10, Washington, and Alex Obase. Both teams coming to this ball game with winning records. Catonsville 8-7, and Dundalk are 10-5. Tip-off is upon us from the Menley Center. As Porter gets the opening tip and lays it in. 2 points for Catonsville. Just 9 seconds into this contest. As Williams will get it stolen away by Micah Morgan. Morgan over to Sampson. Cross pass to Porter. Porter line up for 3. He's got it. As Barrow will get possession for Dundalk. Barrow over to Williams. Williams spins around, hands it off to Scott. There's a foul called. Foul called on Micah Morgan. Morgan, a 6'1" sophomore from Calora, Maryland, by way of West Nottingham Academy. As Obasi has possession for Dundalk. He finds Barrow. Barrow is looking for Williams, Hussein Williams. Ball went out of bounds. The possession will go with the Cardinals. Morgan with possession. Morgan is guarded by Scott. Scott over to Porter. Over to Caleb Gray. Cross pass to Micah Morgan. Morgan is defended by Barrow, who finds Sampson in the corner. Sampson's off. Lance Porter with the rebound. Over to Tomlin. Tomlin over to Caleb Gray. The shot clock violation by Caleb Gray. Possession arrow will go with Dundalk. Had a great conversation with Coach Prolo this morning. He says both of these teams know each other very well. Last summer, as they were preparing for each other's seasons, they would use each other's courts. So Dundalk would come to Catonsville and use their gym, and Catonsville would do the same at Dundalk. Going back to action here as Hussein Williams tried to go up for that basket, was fouled. Sampson on the foul. So Catonsville already has 2 players in foul trouble just a minute and 45 seconds into this contest. As Hussein Williams will go to the free throw line. He's 6' sophomore from Lynchburg, Virginia, by way of Heritage. Williams averages 20 points per game. Had a 36-point performance against Bryan and Stratton back on November 10th. Williams is off on the second one as Sampson gets the rebound. He finds Morgan. Morgan goes into paint, finds Tomlin out on the corner. Tomlin over to Porter, finds Caleb Gray. Back to Porter. Porter sees Gray in the corner. And that ball was tipped by Washington. Malachi Washington got his hand in there and knocked the ball out of bounds. As Morgan will get possession for the Cardinals. Tomlin That was close to being a backcourt violation. Was able to keep it in as Morgan has it. Morgan lays it up and in. Micah Morgan gets the bucket. Morgan now has 4 points. Meanwhile, Hussein Williams had it for Dundalk. It was stripped by Morgan. Morgan in the lane, he fell. He's fouled by Obasi. Number 20 for Dundalk. So Obasi. Obasi is a 6'3" first year from Lanham, Maryland, by way of Henry Wise High School. Morgan has possession for the Cardinals, flips it out to Sampson. Sampson cross pass to Gray for 3. Gray's off. Tomlin with the rebound. Tomlin stolen away briefly by Williams. Xavier Barrow gets it. Who finds Damian Hopkins. Hopkins over to Barrow. Barrow guarded by Gray. Barrow for 3. He's got it. Xavier Barrow with the 3-pointer over Caleb Gray. This game is tied at 4. Porter has it now for Catonsville. Flips it over to Sampson from 3. Misses that one. Is Xavier Barrow with the rebound. Barrow weaves between Porter. Fires. Rattles it home. Xavier Barrow. First points of the game for him. Catonsville's got possession. Porter over to Morgan. Morgan, guarded by Hopkins, goes to the basket, is fouled. Malachi Washington on that foul for Dundalk. Washington, a 6'5" sophomore from Norfolk, Virginia, by way of Lake Taylor. It's Morgan. This is that first one. Gets the second to go. As Scott has possession for Dundalk. Flips it over to Hopkins. Hopkins over to Xavier Barrow, who weaves past Darian Hall and flips it up and in. Catonsville's got it. Morgan over to Tomlin. Tomlin misses. Rebound goes to Malachi Washington for Dundalk. Finds Xavier Barrow. Barrow over to Williams for 3. He's off. Sampson gets the rebound for Catonsville in the lane. It was stripped as Sampson went up for it. Ball went out of bounds. Possession arrow goes with Dundalk. Full crowd on hand tonight in the Manley Center for this rivalry on a Friday night. Hopkins is guarded by Porter. Flips it over to Scott. Scott's fouled. Dorian Hall picks up that foul. His first. As Scott goes to the basket, lays it up and in. Christopher Scott with that bucket. He was a late starter. Originally had Cam Alberry in the lineup. He's injured. So Scott will get the start tonight for Dundalk. His timeout is called as Dundalk has a 10-5 lead. As Coach Prelo was telling me this morning, this is the most anticipated matchup on the Cardinals' schedule this season, just because of everything going on with the Cardinals program this season and also the magnitude of this matchup tonight. Both schools are under the CCBC umbrella. Have Dundalk going up against Catonsville. Very meaningful matchup for Coach Prelo. He's known Coach King for a long time. Him and Coach King have been great friends. So it's always a pleasure going up against Coach King. He's a very talented coach. And last year, Prelo, he got the better of Coach King as his Cardinals beat the Lions in the NJCAA semifinals last March. Told me about that this morning, that was a big milestone win in his career as a head coach. Caught up with him before the game. He said he's very anxious but excited to see what his Cardinals team can do tonight. As Hussein Williams get the inbound pass over to Chris Scott, back to Williams, who's guarded by Hayes. Williams sees Jalen Williams in the corner, over to Xavier Barrow for three. Barrow's off. Hayes with that rebound. Hayes over to Karis Scott. Scott over to Tomlin, nickname is Tank. Back to Porter, over to Hayes, who finds Vega in the lane. Back to Hayes, sees Porter for three. Lance Porter cannot get that one to go. As Williams on the rebound. Over to Xavier Barrow. Barrow over to Scott. Scott guarded by Vega. Scott weaves around Vega, who's looking for Jalen Williams. Couldn't get him as Porter with the rebound. Stepped out of bounds, believe. Dundalk player Xavier Barrow, as Catonsville will remain with possession. Hopkins with that foul. Vega finds Karis Scott for three, who is knocked down as he went to shoot that basket. Knocked down by Christopher Scott. As Karis Scott will head to the free throw line. Karis Scott, a 5'11" first year from Odenton, Maryland, by way of Arundel. Scott averages 14.9 points per game and an 80% free throw shooter. Scott had a 24-point outing against Potomac State back on December 18th. As Hopkins gets it for Dundalk, cross pass to Scott. Scott tried to go up for it. It's followed by Caleb Gray. Just immediately ran over Gray as he was going to the basket. So Caleb Gray will pick up his first foul of the game. Hopkins gets it for Dundalk. Over to Williams. Williams. Foul called on Jasir Vega. That's Vega's first of the game. And Hussein Williams was the beneficiary of that foul. As Scott gets it for Dundalk. Chris Scott. So he stepped out of bounds. Catonsville will get possession. Kara Scott gets it for the Cardinals. It's found Vega, who is triple teamed. Passed it back to Scott. Scott loses the handle on that one. That ball goes out of bounds. Turnover by Damian Hopkins and Dundalk, as Hopkins gets possession. Hopkins guarded by Porter. Hopkins finds Williams in the corner. Williams back to Hopkins. Over to Scott. Scott goes up for the basket. Is fouled. So Chris Scott is fouled as he went up for that basket, and he will go to the line. So Chris Scott, a 6'4" sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, by way of Archbishop Spalding, has averaging 11 points on the season, a 75% free throw shooter. Had a 25-point performance December 18th against Prince George Community College. So, as Scott heads to the line, he'll look to add on the 3-point lead that Dundalk has already. Misses the first one. Substitutions for the Cards, as Dorian Hall checks back into the game for the Cardinals. Hall, a 6'5" first year from Hyattsville, Maryland, by way of Shabak Christian Academy. As Scott makes 1 out of 2 at the free throw line. Meanwhile, Catonsville's got it. Dorian Hall goes up for it, and it's off. Dundalk with the rebound. Chris Scott, guarded by Karis Scott. Chris Scott hands it over in the corner to Chris Brown, who misses that 3-pointer. Meanwhile, Wendell Tomlin, aka Tank, sinks that 3-pointer for the Cards. Cuts the lead to 1. As Xavier Barrow gets it for the Lions. Flips it out to Chris Scott, who has Chris Brown in the lane. He's fouled by Karis Scott. As Chris Brown goes to the free throw line. He's a 6'4" first year from Waldorf, Maryland, by way of St. Charles. As Brown makes the first. Brown's off on the second. Tomlin with the rebound. Over to Sampson. Sampson finds Vega. Vega back to Sampson, over to Karis Scott. Scott back to Vega, over to Hayes in the corner. Cam Hayes off on that 3 as Xavier Barrow gets the rebound. Barrow cross pass to finds Chris Brown. Over to Damian Hopkins for 2. As Sampson has it for Catonsville. Over to Hayes, back to Sampson. Back to Karis Scott, who's guarded by Hopkins. Over to Tomlin. Tomlin finds Vega in the corner, who drains the 3. Jaseer Vega cuts the lead to 1. Vega, first points of the night for him. As Dundalk gets possession, Hopkins with the ball. Pass it over to Chris Brown, who was fouled. Vega on that foul, his second of the game. Chris Brown will shoot two, gets the first one. And Brown makes them both. Lance Porter will get it off the inbound pass. Porter finds Sampson. Sampson over to Porter, guarded by Alex Obasi, who just checked into the game. Finds Tomlin, back to Porter. Over to Tomlin for three. It's off. As Hussein Williams with the rebound for Dundalk. He'll find Xavier Barrow in the corner for three. He's off. Barrow gets his own rebound. Barrow goes to the basket. He misses again. Malachi Washington picks it up and flips it home. Malachi Washington with the two-pointer. His first points of the game for him. Extends the lead 18-13. Cam Hayes gets it for Catonsville. Finds Kara Scott for three. He's off. Ball went out of bounds. Possession with the Lions. Hussein Williams with the inbound pass. Over to Hopkins. Hopkins has it. Over to Xavier Barrow. Over to Hopkins. Cross pass to Williams. Finds Barrow for three, who misses. As Malachi Washington falls out of bounds. Catonsville will get possession. Kara Scott with the ball for Catonsville. Over to Porter. Back to Scott. Finds Tomlin, who traveled. And Wendell Tomlin picks up the travel. As the Lions will get possession. Checking back into the game is Micah Morgan for the Cardinals. As Chris Scott has possession for the Lions. Over to Xavier Barrow. Barrow is looking for Obasi, who's got it. Alex Obasi. As Scott has it for the Cardinals, finds Lance Porter. Porter over to Tomlin. Tomlin spins in the post. He's got it. Nice floater by Wendell Tomlin. Chris Scott has possession for Dundalk. Cross pass to Williams, who was falling down as a shot went up. No foul called. Kara Scott has it over to Cam Hayes. Hayes floats it. He gets it to go. Cam Hayes with the floater. Trailing by three. As Coach Prolo calls timeout. And Coach Prolo, he picks up the whiteboard, talks things over. So we take a full team timeout. Just 8 minutes left to go here in the first half. Through Coach Prolo's and I's conversation this morning, he told me a little background about himself. He played at Catonsville from 2010 to 2012. Then he went over to Central State in Ohio, a Division II school. And then he took over the women's basketball team. He started the women's basketball team actually here at Catonsville in 2016. as former coach Randy Gregory retired in 2015. So Pro Lou was the women's coach for 3 seasons, went to a couple other schools before coming back in 2023 to lead the men's basketball team here in Catonsville. Told me that Wendell Tomlin, Jaisir Vega, and Cam Sampson are all roommates, and they're the 3 most outgoing players on this team. He said these 3 guys keep the team together. They keep the team engaged, especially in tough times. On bus rides, they're always getting things going, always getting a conversation started. And they're the 3 core players that hold this Cardinals team intact. As we get back into play here, Chris Scott over to Barrow. Scott's got it back. Scott is guarded by Karis Scott, who tried to steal it away, missed. Over to Obesi, who finds Chris Brown for 3, but he's off. As Morgan with the rebound. Over to Karis Scott, who's off on that one.
Player control foul, Catonsville, number 15, Michael Morgan. His 3rd, team's 10th.
As Chris Scott gets the inbound pass for Dundalk, finds Xavier Barrow. Back to Scott, over to Barrow, who finds Williams in the corner. Williams to Obasi. Obasi drains it. So Alex Obasi with now 4 points on the night. Scott got it for Catonsville, flips over to Hayes for the 3. He's off. Is Obasi will get the rebound, but he traveled as he was falling down. So Catonsville will get possession as Karis Scott will get the inbound pass. Scott, a 5'11" first year from Odenton. Over to Sampson, who finds Tomlin. Over to Hayes, who floats that one there. So Cam Hayes now has 4 points on the night. Hayes, a 6'1" first year from Baltimore by way of Archbishop Curley. As Scott gets it for Dundalk. Scott is guarded by Porter. Scott weaves past Porter, goes up for the basket, is blocked. Porter swatted that one away. Sampson gets it back for Catonsville, goes coast to coast, can't get it to go. Hussein Williams on the rebound. A cross pass to Scott, who floats it home. So Chris Scott heads up play. Gets that basket to fall. Extends the lead to 5, 24-19. Porter's got it for Catonsville. Porter fouled.
Catonsville foul number 4.
As
Isaac Roby, his 1st, team's Catonsville lead the limit.
As Cam Hayes gets the inbound pass and he was fouled. Dundalk's fouled by Xavier Barrow, his first of the night. As Cam Hayes heads to the free throw line. Hayes gets that one to go. He's 66% free throw shooter on the season. Hayes coming off a 16-point game against Montgomery College last Wednesday night. Hayes makes both. Cuts the lead to 3, 24-21. Advantage goes to the Lions. As Barrow's got it, over to Williams. Cross pass to Chris Scott, who finds Alex Obesi, who lays it up and in. Obesi now up to 8 points on the night. Karis Scott over to Cam Sampson. Cross pass to Cam Hayes, back to Sampson. Sampson is guarded by Barrow. Cross pass to Hayes. Hayes weaves through Brown, over to Porter, who stepped out of bounds. It's usually Tomlin on that, had that possession before he stepped out. As a foul was called in the process on Obese. Excuse me, Obese. His second of the game. As Wendell Tomlin will head to the free throw line. 81% free throw shooter on the season, a 6'7" sophomore from Richmond, Virginia, by way of Churchill Academy. And Tomlin gets them both. Cuts the lead to 3, 26-23 Dundalk. Williams has possession. Finds Scott, puts it up and in. Chris Scott now has 7 points on the night. Sampson's got it. Over to Karis Scott, who finds Cam Hayes, who flips it out to Porter. Porter over to Tomlin. Tomlin for 3. He's off. As Lance Porter gets the rebound. Porter goes right to the rack. He slams it home. Lance Porter with the slam. Cuts the lead to 3. Xavier Barrow goes coast to coast, floats it up and in. Weaved between 2 defenders and laid it up. 30-25 to lead for Dundalk. Karis Scott finds Hayes, who's guarded by Hopkins. Hayes floats it up. Cam Hayes now has 8 points on the night. As Williams has possession for Dundalk. Flipped it up, it was off. Hayes with the rebound, trailing by 3. Gonna quiet things down here. Over to Sampson. Back to Scott. Cross pass to Porter. Over to Hayes for 3. He's off. Rebound by Hopkins. Foul called in the process. Karis Scott with his second foul. As Damian Hopkins heads to the free throw line. A 5'11" sophomore from Columbia, Maryland, by way of Oakland Mills. Makes the first one. And gets the second to go. 32-27 lead for Dundalk. Porter's got it. Weaves through 2 defenders. Foul's called. Malachi Washington on that foul for Dundalk. Washington's second. That's Porter at the line. Gets it to go. Porter makes 1 out of 2. Timeout called by Coach Prelo. 30-second timeout. Coach Prelo and his team has done a lot to prepare for this matchup tonight. A big game for the Cardinals. They're just above 500 on the season with the 8-7 record, 3-3 in conference. Had a big confidence booster going into the weekend last week with a 54-point win over College of Southern Maryland. Both teams head back out of the timeout as Xavier Barrow gets possession for Dundalk. Barrow floated it, but did not go in as Tomlin with the rebound. Over to Sampson, it was blocked by Chris Scott. Catonsville with possession. Is one of the players on the bench went over to get the ball. It's Lance Porter will get possession for Catonsville. Over to Karis Scott, who finds Wendell Tomlin. Nice feed to Porter, who was stolen away by Dundalk. Tomlin thought it was a foul as Hussein Williams lines up for three and he sinks it. Hussein Williams now with 4 points on the night. He shot it over the head of 6'7" Wendell Tomlin. Sampson has got it for Catonsville. Over to Hayes. Nice find to Tomlin, who slams it home. Wendell Tomlin brings the Cards back within 5. Just over 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Scott has possession for Dundalk. Chris Scott weaves into the lane. Foul was called by Wendell Tomlin as he gets Scott on that right arm as he went up to the basket. So Scott will head back to the free throw line. Scott missed the first one. A substitution for the Cardinals. Checking back into the game is Jacier Vega, as Cam Sampson will take a seat on the bench. Scott gets the second. Karis Scott with possession for Catonsville. Over to Vega. Vega guarded by Barrow. Over to Scott. Cross pass to Tomlin. Back to Vega. Vega sees Scott wide open. Scott for three. He sinks it. Karis Scott with the three-pointer. He'll cut the lead to 3, 36-33. The Lions with the lead. As Dundalk has the ball, Hopkins with possession. He drains that one. Hopkins with the floater. Karis Scott over to Cam Hayes. Weaves past Hopkins, who was looking for Scott. There was a miscommunication there. The ball went out of bounds as the Lions will retain possession. As Hopkins will get possession for Dundalk. Over to Xavier Barrow for three. He sinks it. Vega over to Sampson for three. That one's off. Jalen Williams with the rebound for Dundalk. Over to Chris Scott. Cross pass to Hussein Williams for three. So back-to-back three-pointers by Dundalk. They'll extend their lead 44-33. As Vega has possession for Catonsville, over to Scott, who was open for a minute. Back to Vega. Scott over to Sampson. Finds Vega, who's guarded by Barrow. Vega loses the ball on his way up. It's at his last touch by Dundalk. So Catonsville will remain with possession. As Vega, the inbound pass, finds Porter, loses the handle on it, gets possession. Finds Sampson, goes up to the basket, lays it up and in, and just as the shot clock expires. 44-35 the score, just over 90 seconds to go here in the Manley Center. Meanwhile, Williams misses the three-pointer for Dundalk. Sampson on the run for Catonsville. Over to Karis Scott. Finds Tomlin in the corner. Back to Sampson. Sampson loses it. There was a foul called. As possession will go with Dundalk. As Hopkins gets possession for Dundalk. Pass to Williams. Williams guarded by Sampson. Looking for Scott. Scott weaves around Vega, who can't get that one to go. Karras Scott with the rebound for Catonsville. Finds Porter all alone. Porter, nice feed to Sampson. That basket did not go. I think claim of travel was called on Sampson. As Jalen Williams will get possession for Dundalk. He'll find Hopkins. He's guarded by Porter. Just under a minute to go here in the first half. Stolen away. Sampson's got it. Guarded by Williams, stripped by Xavier Barrow. Ball went out of bounds. Catonsville will remain possession. Coach King not too pleased with his team's defensive scheme. And that inbound pass over to Tomlin. He's got it for Catonsville. Tries to find Scott. He's got it. Beautiful pass. Beautiful finish by Cam Hayes as he lays it up and in. Meanwhile, Dundalk has possession. Tried to flip it into the basket. Xavier Barrow misses that one. Catonsville's got it. Sampson over to Tomlin for three in the corner. Wendell Tomlin's off. Rebound underneath the basket as Scott gets it for Dundalk. Scott still has possession. Up to the basket. He's fouled on his way up. Tomlin with that foul. His second of the game. Chris Scott at the line. Gets the first one. He gets the second. So Chris Scott makes them both. Vega has possession for Catonsville. Vega elbows the defender, flips it out to Sampson, who's got the bucket and the foul. Cam Sampson musters his way to the basket. Gets that bucket. Chris Brown on the foul. That's Brown's first for Dundalk. As Sampson can't get that one to go. Last second heave for Dundalk. Halftime is upon us. 46-40 the score from the Manley Center as the Lions head into the locker room with the lead. Take a look at stats. For Dundalk, Xavier Barrow leads with 12 points. Chris Scott behind him with 10. Hussein Williams with 7. Damian Hopkins with 6. And Malachi Washington with 2. For the Cardinals, Wendell Tomlin has 9. Cam Hayes with 10. Lance Porter with 5. Vega with 3. And lastly, Cam Sampson with 5 points so far in the first half. Second half will be upon us in approximately 15 minutes. Keep it right here on CCBC Catonsville YouTube channel. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth. I'm Cam Crossett with you. 46-40 lead for CCBC Dundalk as we head to the second half. Tightly contested matchup tonight as two rivals from CCBC square off against each other. Large crowd on hand tonight. And a Friday night inside the Manley Center as Wendell Tomlin will start us off here in the second half. Gets the pass to Sampson. Over to Morgan. It was stolen away momentarily. Brought back by Sampson. He's off as Tomlin will get the rebound. Over to Morgan. Morgan stolen away by Chris Scott. Scott over to Williams. Williams finds Obasi in the corner. Obasi finds Washington. Over to Williams in the corner. He's off as Lance Porter gets the rebound. Catonsville with possession. Porter goes coast to coast, lays it up and in. Scored 46-42. Porter's stolen away again with that turnover. So it's a foul on Micah Morgan. So possession will go with CCBC as Lance Porter will get the inbound pass. Xavier Barrow on that foul, his second of the game. Porter finds Morgan over to Tomlin. Cross pass to Porter in the corner. He's got it. Three-pointer for Lance Porter. Cuts the lead to one. As Xavier Barrow gets it. Over to Hussein Williams. Ball is out of bounds. Tipped by Cam Sampson. Williams doesn't like that call. But Catonsville will get possession. Micah Morgan has possession for Catonsville. Over to Sampson, who's guarded by Barrow. Sampson flips it out to Morgan. Morgan goes to the rack. He's got it. Micah Morgan lays it up. First lead of the night for Catonsville, 47-46. As Xavier Barrow gets it. Over to Chris Scott, who lost the handle on it and turned it over. Chris Scott had a little miscommunication with Xavier Barrow, and a timeout is called by head coach Byron King and CCBC Dundalk. They're going to talk things over as Catonsville has on a 7-0 run to head out of the second half. So it'll be a 30-second timeout. Coach Prelo, very impressed with his team. He's able to talk with him at halftime. He says if we keep the momentum going, we keep adding the pressure, we can escape this one with a victory. We'll see if we can do that tonight here in the second half. Tomlin gets it for Catonsville, finds Morgan. Morgan flips it out to Caleb Gray, who made his first start of the season. Caleb Gray, a 6'4" sophomore from Washington, D.C. by way of Friendship Academy. There was a foul called by number 20, Alex Obasi, for Dundalk as Cam Sampson heads to the line. Sampson, a 6'1" first year from Richmond, Virginia by way of Thomas Jefferson High School. Sampson gets the first. As Chris Brown checks into the game for Dundalk. Sampson misses the second one. As Hopkins has possession for Dundalk. Do have a substitution for the Lions. Checking into the game is number 14, Markel Thompson. As Tomlin tried to slam it home, but the basket did not go in and he was fouled. We'll have stats on Markel Thompson in just a moment as Tomlin will go to the free throw line. As Chris Scott picks up that foul, his second. Tomlin gets the first. Tomlin gets the second. Catonsville extends their lead 50-46. As Williams saved the ball from going out of bounds. Williams gets it, he's off. As a cross-court pass to Lance Porter, Catonsville's got it over to Tomlin for three. Wendell Tomlin sinks it from the corner. Extends the lead 53-46, and Coach King calls timeout. CCBC Dundalk going to talk things over as Catonsville with a 13-0 run to start the second half. Coach Prolo picks up his whiteboard. He's going to draw up a plan for his Cardinals to extend the lead. Up 53-46. As Dundalk lost all momentum coming out of the halftime break. They had the 46-40 lead going into halftime, and Catonsville has capitalized on their errors. Had a couple turnovers for Dundalk. A total of 3 in the first half, and then 2 here in the second. And that's been costly for them as Catonsville has squandered on those opportunities. It break out to the 53-46 lead. As Thompson will get the inbound pass for Dundalk. Markel Thompson, a 6'4" first year from Washington, D.C. by way of Friendship Collegiate Academy. His teammates with Caleb Gray back in high school. Meanwhile for Dundalk, Thompson. He's got it. He finds Hopkins in the corner, who finds Chris Brown from beyond the arc, pushing it out to Williams, who misses the three. Catonsville comes down with the rebound. Dundalk with yet another missed opportunity as Tomlin had the ball. He couldn't retain possession as the possession arrow goes with Dundalk as Hopkins tried to go up for the basket, but he was fouled. The ball went out of bounds as well, and they say possession arrow remains with Dundalk. Williams, inbound pass to Hopkins. Hopkins guarded by Porter. Porter couldn't guard him in time as Hopkins stepped back for the two-pointer. As Morgan gets it for Catonsville, flips it out to Porter. Porter's off. Mike Wiggins checks back into the game. He's off. Wiggins, a 6'9" first year from Parkville, Maryland, by way of Parkville. Meanwhile, the other end, Hussein Williams gets it to go for Dundalk. Cam Sampson has it for Catonsville, flips it over to Wiggins. Wiggins, he puts it home. Gets the basket to go. As Xavier Barrow has possession for Dundalk, over to Scott. Scott is guarded by Tomlin, who can't get past this 6'7" frame of Tomlin, and he's fouled in the process.
Catonsville foul number 1, Wendell Tomlin, his third, team's first.
So Chris Scott head to the free throw line, a 6'4" sophomore out of Baltimore, Maryland, by way of Archbishop Spalding. Scott gets the first one. Checking back into the game for Catonsville will be Cam Hayes and Kara Scott. Scott misses the second as Lance Porter gets the rebound over to Karis Scott. Scott with possession for Catonsville, over to Morgan for 3. Morgan thought about it, flipped it over to Hayes, went in and out of his hands. Ball went out of bounds. As possession will go with the Lions. As Hopkins with possession for the Lions. Hopkins pass to Barrow, over to Brown, has Williams. Williams mishandled the ball, went out of bounds. The possession arrow goes back to Catonsville. Lance Porter with possession, flips it over to Karis Scott. Scott guarded by Hopkins. Over to Morgan, back to Scott. Scott's got a wide open lane. Scott over to Hayes from the corner for 3. He's off. Rebound by by Dundalk. Barrow had it. Lance Porter swatted away but slipped. The ball went out of bounds. Possession arrow will go with Dundalk. Barrow's got it. Over to Hopkins. Finds Scott, guarded by Porter. Cross pass to Xavier Barrow, who finds Chris Brown, who couldn't get that slam dunk to go in. And a foul was called. Mike Wiggins on that foul, his first of the ball game. Chris Brown, a 6'4" first year from Waldorf, Maryland, by way of St. Charles. Can't get the first one to go. Can't get the second. So Brown remains on the court with 3 points. As Barrow got the rebound, tried to put it in the basket, and it was fouled by Mike Wiggins. So Xavier Barrow will head to the free throw line. As Wiggins having a conversation with Coach Prelo. Xavier Barrow misses the first one as Coach Prelo pulls Wiggins out. As Wendell Tomlin checks back into the game for the Cardinals. Xavier Barrow, a 5'11" sophomore from Staten Island, New York, by way of Susan E. Wagner High School. Morgan with possession for Catonsville, over to Hayes. Finds Karis Scott, thought about the 3, decided to pass it to Morgan. Morgan, he's guarded by Hopkins. Morgan spins around in the paint. Over to Karis Scott, who weaves past Chris Brown. Can't get the bucket to foul. Lance Porter cleans up the loose change and floats it in. Catonsville extends their lead 57-51. Xavier Barrow with possession for Dundalk. As Chris Scott has it. over to Hussein Williams, who floats it. He's fouled on his way up. Cam Hayes doesn't like the call. Foul will be on Hayes.
Technical foul number 5, Cameron Hayes, his first, team's fourth.
As Williams heads to the free throw line. First one rattles in and out. Williams will try it once more. Gets it. Substitutions for the Lions. Checking in, number 20, Alex Obasi. Number 14, Markel Thompson. Catonsville will get possession. Up by 5, 57-52. Morgan's got the ball. He's looking for Tomlin in the corner. Tomlin over to Scott. Scott weaves past Thompson. Scott can't get it to go. Rebound for Dundalk. Thompson gets possession. Thompson goes to the rack. He gets it to go. Markel Thompson, first points of the night for him. Kara Scott with possession for Catonsville. Flips it over to Lance Porter for 3. He's off. Dundalk with possession. Hopkins goes up to the rack. He's got it to go. Damian Hopkins cuts the lead to 1. As Porter has possession, flips it over to Tomlin for 3. He's off. As Lance Porter gets it back. Porter in a battle with Obasi. Flips it over to Scott. Scott over to Tomlin. Tomlin finds Scott. Across pass to Hayes. Hayes guarded by Williams. Hayes goes to the rack. Can't get it to go. Here's foul. But the possession arrow will go with Dundalk. Hayes with the foul, his second. As Damian Hopkins has the ball for Dundalk. He's guarded by Karis Scott. Flips it out to Xavier Barrow. Barrow over to Hopkins, who finds Obasi. Obasi mishandled the ball. Turnover by Catonsville. Tomlin's got it. Tomlin, he's getting triple team. Flips it out to Sampson in time. He has Porter, who tried to slam it home, and it did not fall. As Lance Porter was a little too fancy with it. Could not get the ball in the basket. And this will remain a 1-point game, 57-56. As Dundalk gets possession, Hopkins has it. Over to Barrow. Barrow over to Hopkins. Finds Obasi underneath the basket. Obasi is fouled. So Obasi will head to the free throw line. Tomlin on the foul. That's his 4th foul of the evening. Obasi gets the first one to go.
We're tied at 57.
And Obasi will get the second. So Alex Obasi gets both. And the Lions retake the lead, 58-57. As Karis Scott has it for Catonsville. Cross pass to Porter, who had to jump for it. He gets it before the ball goes out of bounds. Back to Scott. Over to Cam Hayes, who mishandles it. Alex Obasi right there to steal the ball away. And the Lions with possession. Over to Chris Scott, who finds Xavier Barrow. Barrow looking for a lane. Cross pass to Hussein Williams. Williams to the rack. tried to stuff it home. It couldn't go. Bessie quickly had it. Meanwhile, Kara Scott gets the turnover, flips it out to Wiggins. Wiggins, he gets it to go. Mike Wiggins, heads up play. She puts that one in the basket. Catonsville has the lead, 59-58. Scott has it for Dundalk. Over to Xavier Barrow in the corner, misses the three. As Cam Hayes will get the rebound, try to settle things down for Catonsville. He's guarded by Obasi. Hayes goes right to the rack. He gets it to go. Cam Hayes. Then as Xavier Barrow, he doesn't like it and gives him a little shove after the basket. As Scott gets it for Dundalk. Over to Barrow. Barrow finds Scott. Back to Barrow. Over to Hussein Williams. Williams, cross pass to Scott, who goes up and under. He gets it to go, plus the foul. So an and one opportunity to tie this ball game up at 61. As Lance Porter will get the foul. That's Porter's third foul on the night. Scott misses the and one. So the score remains 61-60, Catonsville. Wiggins has the ball. Over to Sampson. Cross pass to Hayes in the corners. Misses that one. As Sampson tried to wrestle the ball away. It's a jump ball foul called. Possession arrow goes with CCBC Dundalk. Xavier Barrow with possession for Dundalk. He's guarded by Vega. Over to Hopkins, guarded by Scott. Hopkins looking for a lane. He has Obasi to his left. He goes for him. Obasi. Over to Barrow, finds Obasi in the paint. Obasi, he gets it to go. And the Lions in the lead, 62-61. As Vega has it for Catonsville. Over to Kara Scott. Over to Sampson. He finds Vega. He's guarded by Thompson. Vega. Over to Sampson. Sampson wheels around Obasi. Sampson to the rack. Can't get it to go. Hussein Williams with the rebound. Over to Hopkins. Finds Thompson all alone, but Thompson mishandles that one, and the ball goes out of bounds. And possession arrow will go with Catonsville. 9 minutes to play here in the second half. Kara Scott has possession, finds Vega. Vega finds Wiggins all alone, and Wiggins slams it home. Mike Wiggins with the slam dunk. Catonsville retake the lead, 63-62. Hopkins went up for the basket. Wiggins swatted it away. Wiggins finds Scott. Kara Scott with possession. Scott over to Hayes, who gets it to go. Nice little bank shot for Cam Hayes. As Coach King, untoo pleased with his team's performance, calls a timeout. 65-62, Catonsville with the lead. So as Coach King and CCBC Dundalk talk things over, we'll take a look at scoring totals for both squads. So the Lions, Damian Hopkins has 10 points. Xavier Barrow leads with 12. Right behind him will be Alex Obasi with 11. As for Catonsville, Cam Hayes leads with 14. Behind him is Wiggins, who's fresh off the bench with 6. Kara Scott with 5. Jaceer Vega with 3. Catonsville trying to see how they can extend their lead. Coach Prelo doing a fantastic job so far with his squad. Talked to me this morning, said he's very anxious about tonight's matchup. Said he's went up against his friend Coach Byron King, the head coach for Dundalk, went up against him multiple times. They're great friends. But he said it's always feels good when you can beat your best friend, especially in a matchup tonight. Told me that Coach Byron King was on his staff when he was at Division II Central Ohio. Said he's been an instrumental part of his career, and he said tonight was a meaningful moment for him. As Hopkins gets possession for Dundalk. As Xavier Barrow with possession. Over to Hopkins. Finds Williams in the corner. Williams cross pass to Barrow. Barrow over to Hopkins. Finds Scott in the corner, guarded by Wiggins. Scott slams it home. Chris Scott beats Mike Wiggins to the basket. Cuts the lead to 1. On the other end, Cam Hayes has the basket, floats it up and under, can't get it to go. As Kara Scott gets it over to Wiggins. He tried to flush it, couldn't get it to go into basket as Dundalk has possession. Hopkins weaves around Morgan, who's fouled. So Morgan gets him with the left leg as Hopkins went up for that basket. As Damian Hopkins will head to the free throw line. That's Morgan's 4th foul. So Catonsville in a little foul trouble with Micah Morgan, who has 4, and Wendell Tomlin, who has 4. One more for either of those players. The Lions will be shooting free throws for the rest of the game. Hopkins ties it up with his first made 3 throw. Can't get that one. And the game remains tied at 65. J.C. Vega has it for Catonsville. Vega going to the basket, flips it out to Wiggins. Wiggins slams it home. Mike Wiggins off the feed from J.C. Vega. It's a 67-65 lead for Catonsville. As Scott gets it for Dundalk. Scott weaves around the defense, is stolen away by Kara Scott for Catonsville. Hayes in the painted area goes up and he's fouled. So Cam Hayes will head to the free throw line. Try to add on to this lead. Jalen Williams with the foul, his first on the night. Hayes, a 6'1" first year from Baltimore by way of Archbishop Curley. Can't make the first one. Checking back into the game will be Lance Porter. Taking a seat will be Mike Wiggins. Hayes can't get the second to go. Score remains 67-65. As Xavier Barrow gets possession for Dundalk, over to Hopkins. Finds Barrow, guarded by Scott. Barrow, cross pass looking for Chris Scott. It was stolen away by Lance Porter. Meanwhile, Chris Scott steals that away from Porter. Scott behind the back, floats it, can't get it to go. Xavier Barrow right there with the rebound. This game is tied once more at 67 all. Catonsville's got to find a way to slow things down. Catonsville gets a full timeout. They'll have 3 more. As Xavier Barrow gets pulled aside by head coach Byron King before he joins the huddle. See what Coach King can draw up for his Lions team. And on the other side, Coach Prelo trying to figure out how to take the lead and maintain the lead for the Cardinals. Very back and forth contest tonight. Both teams trading baskets pretty much all throughout the night. The biggest lead, that Dundalk has had is a 46-40 lead at the half. That's the biggest lead by both teams so far tonight. As the timeout is over and both players will retake the court with just over 6 minutes to play here in the Manley Center on a Friday night. As play will resume out of the timeout as Kara Scott gets possession for Catonsville. Scott over to Tomlin. Over to Sampson for three. He's got it. Cam Sampson for three. Catonsville retakes the lead 70-67 as Sampson now has 9 points on the night. Meanwhile, turnover by Kara Scott in Catonsville. He goes up to the rack. He gets it to go. Kara Scott with the layup. Now has 7 points on the night. As Hopkins has it for Dundalk. Pass it over to Barrow. Over to Williams. Williams. Cross pass to Barrow for three. Barrow's off. Meanwhile, Kara Scott has it, weaves to two defenders. The shot is called off as a travel violation. It's called by Kara Scott. As Hopkins will get possession for Dundalk. Trailing by 5, 72-67, just over 5 minutes to play. Williams gets it. Shoots the three, he misses. Sampson with the rebound. Sampson mishandles the ball. He's fouled on his way to the floor. As the possession arrow will remain with Catonsville. As Sampson comes up walking a little slowly, shaking it off as he'll get the inbound pass. As Kara Scott has possession for Catonsville. Over to Tomlin. Over to Sampson. Back to Kara Scott. Has Sampson behind him. Sampson with the push-off. They called a foul on Hopkins, his second foul of the night. As Vega has the ball for Catonsville. Over to Kara Scott. Scott flips it out to Lance Porter, who was stolen away by Barrow, but they say that possession will remain with Catonsville. As Xavier Barrow with the push-off. It's Barrow's fourth. So Lance Porter will get the inbound pass. He's guarded by Hussein Williams. Scott, pass over to Tomlin. Tomlin fires. Can't get that one to go. As Obasi with the rebound. As Barrow gets it for Dundalk, who fires the three and he sinks it. Xavier Barrow, now 17 points on the night. As Kara Scott has possession for Catonsville. Up by 2 with 4 minutes to go here in the Manley Center. Kara Scott Weaves through two defenders and gets it to go. Kara Scott with the layup. Sends the lead 74-70. Teammates call him Scotty. As Dundalk has possession. Hopkins with it. Hopkins over to Williams. Williams rattles in and out. Catonsville with possession. Kara Scott comes down with it. Over to Tomlin. Tomlin over to Scott. Scott over to Tomlin. Across pass to Sampson. Sampson over to Porter. Porter over to Vega. Around the horn to Tomlin. Tomlin sees Sampson wide open for three. He sinks it. Cam Sampson with the three-pointer. His second three of the game. Sampson now with 12 points on the night. As Chris Scott will get possession for Dundalk. Scott slips, able to retain possession as Vegas has guarded him. Over to Williams, finds Scott for three, in and out. Tomlin with the rebound. Tomlin over to Sampson, finds Vega. Now Catonsville can settle things down. He's 7-point lead with just under 3 minutes to go. Vega is guarded by Barrow. Vega to the rack. Flips it out to Porter to the last second. Can't get that one to go. As Dundalk with possession. Xavier Barrow's got it. Over to Scott. Scott. Turnover by Sampson. He stepped out of bounds. And a possession arrow will go with Dundalk. Sampson tried to get his 2 feet in bounds, but just couldn't make it happen. And the ball will go over to Dundalk. Hussein Williams with the inbound pass. Williams has it. For three, he's got it. Hussein Williams. He cuts the lead to 4. 77-73 to lead for Catonsville. Coach King will call a 30-second timeout. We'll talk things over. We'll check on scoring totals for both teams. Xavier Barrow leads with 17 points for the Lions. On the other side, Tomlin and Hayes lead it with 14 points each for Catonsville. Score 77-73. Just over 2 minutes left here on a Friday night in the Manley Center. This would be a massive win for Coach Prelo and his program. As Sampson will get the inbound pass. Sampson gets it to Scott. Scott's got it. Over to Sampson. Over to Porter. Weaves around Williams. Porter's got it. Finds Sampson, who has Tomlin outstretched to the right. Tomlin looking for a lane. He finds Porter wide open, who slams it home. Lance Porter with the slam. Extends the lead 79-73. Williams for three. He's off as Hayes with the rebound. 6-point lead for Catonsville. Finds Sampson wide open. Sampson tried to go to the rack. He was fouled in the process by Williams. And Xavier Barrow, his teammate, he doesn't like the call. As Sampson will go to the free throw line. Sampson looking to add on his 12-point performance. Sampson gets the first. Sends the lead 80-73. Sampson misses the second. Just a minute and a half left to play in the Manley Center. As Hopkins gets it. Hopkins over to Scott. Hopkins has it. Over Tomlin, gets it to go. Damian Hopkins with the layup. Sampson has it over to Scott. Scott, ball went out of bounds. Possession arrow Dundalk. Coach Prelo trying to plead his case, but the referee's not having any of it. So Dundalk with possession as Micah Morgan checks into the game, as Kara Scott will take a seat. As Hopkins flips it out to Scott, wheels around Cam Sampson, who puts it in the basket. So kick ball violation as Micah Morgan had possession for Catonsville. Xavier Barrow knocked it out of bounds. A 3-point game with 51.7 seconds to play. Sampson with the inbound. Coach Prillo called timeout just for that pass was thrown by Sampson. Prillo and his staff going to talk things over, leading by 3. Just 51 seconds left. Catonsville is left with 2 timeouts, and Dundalk's left with 1. Catonsville will try to extend their lead, up by 3. It's a back and forth ball game. This means a lot to Coach Prelo and the Cardinals. Looking to go 2 games above 500 in the Region 20 standings. This will be a big win for the Cardinals if they're able to pull it off. As both teams take the court. See what Dundalk can do, trailing by 3. Micah Morgan has possession for Catonsville. It's guarded by Obasi. Morgan with possession. Morgan flipped it out to Hayes, who was fouled by Williams. So Hussein Williams fouled Cam Hayes, and coaching staff from Dundalk not too happy with that foul. It's Williams' third. So Cam Hayes will shoot the 1-and-1. Hayes gets the first, now has 15 points on the night. Hayes gets both. Sends the lead 82-77. As Chris Scott will get possession for Dundalk with just over 40 seconds left. He finds Obasi. Obasi with possession. Guarded by Porter. Over to Scott. Scott finds Williams for 3. He's got it. Cuts the lead to 2, 82-80 as Coach Prillo calls timeout. He's not too happy with Cam Hayes as he was defending Hussein Williams on that 3. Williams now has 16 points on the night.
Dundalk timeout.
Coach King talking things over with his team on the Lions sideline. We'll take a look at Catonsville's upcoming schedule. They'll be back at home next Wednesday against Allegheny College in Maryland. And then they'll hit the road for the rest of the season, the entire month of February. Games will be played away from the Manley Center, starting February 5th at Frederick Community College. Both teams come out of the timeout with 30 seconds left. Catonsville with a 2-point lead. As Tomlin will get possession. Over to Morgan. Was fouled. So Morgan will go to the line. Micah Morgan, a 6'1" sophomore from Calora, Maryland, by way of West Nottingham Academy. It's a substitution for Dundalk. We'll have Malachi Washington checking back into the game. Morgan rattles it home. Lead is now 83-80. Checking back into the game will be Cam Sampson, as Cam Hayes will take a seat. Morgan misses the second. Foul is called as both players hit the floor, as Lance Porter and Malachi Washington hit the deck. As the ball will go down the other side. And Dundalk will get ready to shoot 2-3 free throws. At the line will be number 13, Malachi Washington. Washington has 2 points on the night. He is a 6'5" sophomore from Norfolk, Virginia. Washington misses the first one. As Washington will get the second, and that's huge for Catonsville. As Williams swatted it away, but the ball went out of bounds before he was able to retain possession. Catonsville will get the basketball with 24 seconds left. As Tomlin has it. Over to Morgan. Over to Scott. Tomlin's got it. It was a kicked ball violation that was not called by Dundalk. As Williams has possession. Just 3 points left. Just trailing by 3, excuse me. As a foul was called by Hussein Williams. The traveling violation, and Coach King is not too happy. With just 9 seconds left, intentional foul by Hussein Williams. As Wendell Tomlin believe will go to the line for a free throw. Refs are talking things over. They're going over to the monitor. Refs are giving explanation to both coaches. And then a timeout was called and all of that by Coach Prolo with 9.9 seconds left. As Dundalk will come back out into the court with 9.9 seconds left. Coach Prilo still talking to his team. As the timeout is over for Catonsville, as players will head back onto the court. As Tomlin will head to the free throw line, as he picked up that intentional foul. It was called on Hussein Williams. Tomlin rattles it home. 4-point advantage for Catonsville. Tomlin's got them both. 5-point lead for Catonsville. Huge free throws by Wendell Tomlin. As Dundalk will get possession. Hussein Williams will get the inbound pass. Dundalk needs a quick three and then a foul. As Hopkins will get it. Trailing by 5 with 5 seconds left. The basket won't go in. Rebound by Washington. Puts it up to go with 0.9 seconds left. The foul was called, but the game is over. As I believe they're going to end this contest. They're checking the monitor. They might put 0.4 seconds back on the game clock. As Obase picked up that foul, his fourth. Kara Scott gets it, and that will all but do it. Catonsville leading by 4. And Scott gets them both, and the ball game is over. Catonsville has gotten the victory tonight, 87-82. They've beaten their rivals CCBC Dundalk on a huge night here in the Manley Center. Congratulations to the men's team. It's a big win on home court. As once again, they beat their rivals 87-82. We'll take a look at stats before we sign things off tonight from the Manley Center. And Chris Scott was the points leader for Dundalk with 15. And as for Catonsville, Wendell Tomlin was the points leader with 16 points. We would like to thank all our staff who makes these broadcasts possible. We'll start with our athletic director, Melissa Miller, the assistant athletic director, Leslie Ray, athletic operations director, Casey Gronwald, public address announcer, Richard Keller, the staff of the scoring table, Alpha Thame, Jaden Monroe, Justin Long, Tyler Sankovic, Bryson Preetz, Seth Manos, Rebecca Planthort, Dan Rolandelli, Sarah Devilbus, and Ty Flowers. We thank you so much for watching CCBC men's basketball. We hope you have a great rest of your night. And Cam Crossett signing off.